Welcome back. June is known as Black Music Month, and here in Arkansas, the roots of Black music run deeper than you might realize. From the blues in the Delta to gospel on Sunday mornings, our state has helped shape the sound of America.
This morning, Wake Up Central's Journey Taylor kicks off a special series looking at the pioneers, places, and performances that define Arkansas's Black musical legacy, starting where it all began.
Arkansas, the story of Black music is deeply woven into the story of the state itself. From historic streets in Little Rock to blues-rich highways that stretch throughout the Delta. While some of the stories are lesser known, their impact spans generations and genres.
Music has played an important part in the history of Black Arkansans, going all the way back to the days of enslavement, with work songs, which eventually form the basis of the blues and gospel, which then take us to R&B and rock and roll and hip hop.
From the haunting, soulful strands of the Delta blues to today's chart-topping hits, Arkansas has firmly etched its legacy into the heart of American music, and it's a story that continues today. For over a century, the natural state has been a starting point and sanctuary for musicians chasing their dreams.
The Chitlin Circuit was a series of venues throughout the East Coast, the South, where Black musicians could play and Black fans could come and watch.
And Brian Rogers with Mosaic Templars Culture Center says Little Rock's historic West 9th Street is the cultural crossroads where those dreamers met.
This was where there were Black businesses, Black homes, Black churches, and one of the significant things that was here was the music venues. The Dreamland Ballroom.
The Dreamland Ballroom stood as an Arkansas stop on the Chitlin Circuit, a network of venues that gave Black entertainers a stage in the segregated South.
When you had artists like Billie Holiday and Nat King Cole and the Duke Ellington Orchestra, when they would tour and come through Little Rock, they would play 2 shows in the city, one at the Robinson for their white fans. Then after that show ended, they would all come down to West 9th Street and play one of the venues here.
And it wasn't just blues and soul. Arkansas gave rise to Black musicians in classical genres.
Florence Price, who was a classical composer who grew up in the Dunbar neighborhood, or William Grant Steele, who was another classical composer from Dunbar.
And then there's the genre creators.
Didn't it rain, children? Their sister Rosetta Thorpe, who is widely considered to be the godmother of rock and roll.
The region, especially the southern stretch near Mississippi, became a magnet for talent. They're originators of the Delta Blues.
Our highway represents a geographic span where you have clubs and juke joints and little dives where all of the greats would go.
Jimmy Cunningham, the executive director of the Delta Rhythm and Bayous Alliance, calls it Cotton Country, a dynamic area that spurred the creation of venues welcoming musicians from all walks of life, like in the heart of Pine Bluff. This musical migration continued downriver along what is known as the Delta Rhythm and Bayous Highway, stretching from Pine Bluff to Greenville, Mississippi. It's a trail where gospel, jazz, blues, and even ragtime echoed through clubs and saloons.
This part of downtown, east of Main Street, was the area that clustered African-American businesses. So you would have had vaudeville and ragtime over there. You would have had jazz and swing and blues over here. This is a place where the spirit of that music lingers.
A century later, those sounds are celebrated and preserved, not just on stage, but over the airwaves.
For my life, Lord, I thank you.
You always, no matter if it's Power 92, KOKY, Praise, 3 different formats, one's gospel, one's adult, one's hip hop, but every Sunday morning you're going to hear gospel. Something gospel every Sunday morning on all those stations, because the stations are built around lifestyle.
No matter the genre, music makes meeting people where they are just a bit easier. A legacy that continued through events like Arkansas's massive annual Juneteenth celebration brought up incoming artists to the natural state.
Juneteenth was it back in the day, I'll say. And to see it grow and develop from the 90s into what had happened in the 2000s was something that was very special for the city.
Music, culture, and history converge every year at the Juneteenth Festival in Little Rock, a tradition rooted in education, freedom, and sound. Music is more than entertainment, it's legacy.
Arkansas history and the history of Black Arkansans are intertwined. You cannot separate the two.
And I sing because I am so happy.
It tells the story of the people. Yeah. It tells the story of a broader social context. We contributed to music in some profound ways, and now we're finally going to be telling Arkansas and the world how cool we are.
How cool we are.
How cool we are.
You can't tell the history of Arkansas without the history of the music, and especially during this Black Music History Month. It is unbelievable how every single day we go down Broadway, we go to Pine Bluff, we go down the Delta. We have no idea how much history is around us.
And when you see it put into a package like this for us, thank you so much for that. The viewers get to see and be reminded of the fact that there is so much heritage here.
Yes, and that's just the surface. Literally, when they say scratching the surface, I feel almost remiss if I couldn't just get everything, but I hope this really pushes our viewers and just everyone to go out and do even more research, because we live in a very rich state, and this all came about between me and our friend, our producer, Keyshawn Moore, who's also a native of Arkansas. He's from North Little Rock. I'm from
Very
Little Rock.
into music.
Yes, he's into music. We love where we're from, and we said, hey, this month for Black Music Month, we have to highlight where we are, who we are, and what we come from. So,
and this is not all?
This is not it. If you thought that was a beast of a story, guess what? We have 3 more to come throughout the month, really highlighting the history, our current artists, and in the future, I plan to even go look at some kids and see how they're learning music and really appreciating where they're from, which is the great state of Arkansas.
And the next generation.
Oh, yeah. And I'll tell you what, if you've never been to Mosaic Templars and sat down with Brian, of course, is there. I have talked history with him for hours and hours just to be able to get a sense of how special our state and our community is. Just go talk to Brian for a little bit at Mosaic Templars. It is unbelievable.
Brian is great. That second man was Jimmy Cunningham, a lover of Pine Bluff, a lover of Pine Bluff and all things. And great things are coming to the Pine Bluff area soon. I don't even want to just even try to get into that because I don't want to scratch the surface on that. Just know great things are happening across the state in music, in entertainment, and we should just really, I'm going to get emotional here.
I understand, Journey.
Our legacy is so important.
It is, and for you to tell it though is also important to our viewers because they know you get it. They know you feel it. So, you tell it well.
We are Arkansans, and I'm so proud to say that.
Thank you. Thank you.